Order. We welcome those of you who are here in attendance. We will begin with our invocation and followed by our pledge, both of which will be led by Councilmember Dennis Alvis.
Let us pray. Father, we're so grateful for another day you've given us, and God, we just ask you for wisdom and discernment on decisions that be made today. Lord, I ask you to bless this council, but Lord, I ask you to bless our community, Lord. We thank you for being able to live here and raise our families here, Lord, and we're just so grateful for the beauty of your creation, Lord, that you've given us to live in. God, go with us this week and guide us and protect us. For it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dennis. Council members, let's check in. We have one absent today. Councilmember Bivens is under the weather, and we wish him speedy recovery. We you had sent to you in your packets the minutes of the January 17th meeting. If there are no corrections, do we have a motion they be approved?
So moved.
Motion Smith, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved. This is the time that we open the floor up to citizen comments. This first comment section is about items that are on the agenda. So these are agenda items only. If there's anything on today's agenda that you want to comment on prior to council addressing them, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Identify yourself by name and address, and you can use your 3 minutes, which begin now. Seeing no one, will close this portion. If the latter part of the agenda, the meeting will be open for comments about any particular city item, not limited to the agenda. The first item we have today, council members, is all the way down to under new business 9B. It's the introduction and first reading of an ordinance number
3555.04.
3555.04. Okay. This is a cluster of expenses. You have the copy in the packet. Is to amend ordinance 3555, City of Morristown annual budget for fiscal year 16-17, and to appropriate an additional sum of $68,286. It is specifically for grant funds received for the police department for the purchase of equipment, lawsuit settlement proceeds, and the appropriation in accordance with an existing contract, and the reclassification of appropriations for the payment of closing costs on the bond issue.
Mayor, as you've indicated, there's a number of things grouped together in this adjustment to the budget. They're routine in nature, recognizing a grant, settlement lawsuit, getting our funds in order for upcoming capital projects. All these things are routine in nature. We would recommend approval. Finance is here if you have additional questions and want more detail.
Okay. Do we have a motion on this recommendation?
Move for approval.
Motion Center. We'll need a second. Assuming someone's pushing second.
Not absent.
Would we have a verbal second?
Second. Hang on a second.
Second.
Wait a
Right now,
second.
Kay's absent, so we need
Go
to
ahead
do
and hit OK.
You're absent.
Now, can you hit yes, Kay, and come back in? Okay.
You were almost missing the meeting.
Yeah, we just missed a little error over here.
And we have a
Okay,
second.
sorry about that.
Any question or discussion? Will this require a public hearing as well? Or
At the next
Yes,
meeting.
next meeting, okay, so the date for that would be the February 21st
Yes.
meeting. Any discussion? Are we ready to vote? Let's vote. And that motion carries. And it's set for public hearing on February 21st. We have a number of awarding of bids and contracts, the first of which is the approval of the agreement between City of Morristown and Lowson Associates Incorporated for the Public Works Compound Task order number 1 is the Public Works Compound Program and Concept Plans in the amount of $15,000. Task order number 2 is the Public Works Compound Construction Document and Construction Administration at 6.25% of construction cost.
Council's aware, of course, we purchased land for the construction of the Public Works compound. We've talked about the idea of getting the design underway, and that's what this contract before you accomplishes. Lowe's and Associates is a firm we've worked with on a number of projects, and they're here tonight to talk about some of those projects. We feel this is a good deal and recommend approval.
We get a motion on that recommendation.
So moved.
Motion Alvis. We need a second. We have a second. Any questions or discussion?
There are representatives from the firm in the back row if you want to grill them now to make sure that they pass muster, but.
All right, sparing than that, are we ready to vote? Let's vote.
You're gonna get that in the work session.
That's right, it's coming one way or another.
You heard it first. This way. Second is the approval of lease agreement between Norfolk Southern Railway and the City of Morristown concerning real property having an area of 22,215 square feet at milepost 89-A in the amount of $2,000 annual rent.
We lease certain property along the railroad through the center of town. This is primarily parking areas in the downtown area. The railroad periodically goes along their right-of-way and reviews their lease agreements. This is the result of that. We and our neighbors along this route are all seeing requests for increased lease payments. We were successful in negotiating a phased increase from what we have been enjoying to what we will be. We'd recommend approval of the lease.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
With motion Smith. We need a second. And we have a second. Any questions or discussion on this one? Where is milepost 8900?
You don't navigate by rail miles. That's basically Henry Street.
I understand Henry Street.
Yeah. Well, if you were in one of those big engines going up and down the rails, 89 would be more relevant.
How often are these lease agreements negotiated?
Generally, I've seen them on the order of like 15 to 20 years. I don't know if there's a specific term for this agreement, but they do revisit them with some frequency, but not a predictable rate.
Are we ready to vote? Let's vote.
In layman's terms.
And that motion is approved. Next is the approval of payment for telecom audit services to Telecom Audit Group LLC in the amount of $27,500.
Council may recall, although some of you may not, we entered into an agreement with this firm 4 years ago to look at our overall telecom bills. As a result of that review, we engaged in discussions, negotiations, and lawsuit with one of our providers. We have recently settled that lawsuit, and this is the agreed portion of that settlement going to the audit firm. Based on that, we recommend approval.
Do we have a motion on that recommendation?
Move for approval.
Motion, Center. And we have a second. Any questions or discussion? Let's vote. And that motion carries. Fourth, we have the approval of purchase of ammunition from Craig's Firearms Supply for the Morristown Police Department in the amount of $12,929.26.
This is a routine purchase of ammo. It's used in qualifying and practice at the range, both for patrol and for our special SWAT services. Again, we recommend approval.
We have a motion on that recommendation.
So moved.
Motion Pitago. We have a second. Any questions or discussion on this one? Hearing none, let's vote. And it passes. Council, if it's okay, I'm going to group these last five. If we let that motion read the approval of inspection and maintenance agreement, I&N between the City of Morristown and Ingalls number 85, Lot 1E Merchants Green Outlot number 2, Hampton Inn, Morristown, I-81, Tennessee, the Downs at Wallace Farms Phase 2, and Kawasaki Building Expansion Project 2015.
Council's familiar with these, we have these on almost every meeting. This is an agreement between the city and the various developments to maintain their stormwater facilities. Contract lays out the responsibilities of each group. Each of these is prepared to go, and we recommend approval of the lot.
Do we get a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Motion, Alvis, do we have a second? We have a second. Any questions or discussion on any one of these? Hearing none, let's vote. And that motion carries. We have one appointment, this being an appointment on a 5-year term to the Morristown Housing Authority. The term that begins on February 15th would expire February 15th, 2022. It is currently held by Harold Knight. I spoke with Mr. Knight, and he has discussed the task and the job, and it's with the folks at the Housing Authority Administration, and they're pleased with his work, and he enjoys it, and would be willing to serve another term, so I will appoint him to fill that role. I might also add just a note here, council members, as you know, we have, I think, about 18 different boards that we fill, and the mayor has appointed authority for 2 of them, which most of them are, so that leaves the others, our decisions as a group. And we appreciate folks who are willing to serve on the various boards, but it's not always easy to find folks. And if I would encourage the council to look at the appointment sheets that we have, and Debbie has it for you if you'd like her to print them off, to see when they're coming up. And if you have folks you encourage to serve, you think would, we find people to serve positions, but it's a good opportunity for folks to be involved in the community, and I would encourage us as a council to seek some folks to be involved. That's my editorial comment for the day. Next, we come to the city administrator's report. Johnny, Chief.
I'll be extremely brief. I just want to remind council and let the audience know, following the regular meeting, we do have a workshop scheduled tonight. That workshop has to do with the development of a park facility, Heritage Park, at the site of the former Morristown College. That workshop will be across the rotunda in the training room. So once we're done, if you want to join in that discussion and see the proposals, please join us in the room across the hall. We should start shortly after the meeting, and Lois and Associates is here to talk about some of the concepts, and we'll talk about what the site is going to be looking like in the future. And that's my report for today.
Thank you, Tony. This is the time we open up the floor for comments. If anyone wants to address council about items which were not on this agenda, but are city matters that you'd like to speak to the council about. Again, the floor is open for 3 minutes. If you have something you'd like to say or speak with us about, you have 3 minutes, and identify yourself by name and address, and the floor is open at this time.
Good evening. Ed Hale, Hale Construction. I would like to address the bonding requirements for a land disturbance on a product in the city. We've only experienced this once. We did the addition to the original footwear in Maid Park. And there was a bond requirement, and we fulfilled those requirements. We fulfilled the requirements for drainage and I guess landscaping for erosion control. That job was not bonded. There was no performance or material payment bond on it. We have projects coming up, two in particular, there are bonds on. Performance bond is just that. It's guarantees by the bonding company that the GC will perform the work for the plans and specs, be it the building or drainage structures, landscaping, whatever. So with the current requirement, I think I'm correct in saying the designer of record, the civil engineer who designed the drainage, gives the city staff a number that they think is the value of the drainage, landscaping, etc. They in turn multiply that number by 1.5,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close this portion of the meeting, and we come to comments from mayor and/or council members. Again, the work session afterward, I'll reiterate that. We do have a matter a concern that's come up, and as you may know, we've been dealing with dilapidated and derelict buildings and houses, and a program of removal of those houses has been underway for a couple of years, and Greg Ellis and our staff has kind of headed that up. And we've come to a point where I guess we're in the low 40s on the houses that have been taken down, but we've come across an issue where some houses that we've come to may still be occupied. And it's an unsafe condition. It's a concern of policy and guidelines there where we may need to give some attention to that. I'm asking Councilmember Pettigo to develop a committee to study this concern, and if you come back within 60 days with your findings, I'll leave that in your hands, and we will be interested to see what your recommendations are and how we might deal with it. It's not an easy issue, but it's one that's a growing concern, and we're going to need to deal with it. So I appreciate your willingness to do that. And those conclude my comments. Any council member wish to speak? Let's head up.
Mayor, I'd like to let you know that once again, the Sunnyside Circle is going to partner with the Furnace Fire Truck Committee, and we're having a chili lunch again. That will be Friday, February the 24th, 11 to 2 o'clock at First Presbyterian Church. Tickets are $8, and the firemen will have some tickets, and I'll have some tickets, and we're splitting the proceeds with the First Fire Truck Fund, and I think everybody saw it. It was in the Christmas parade. They're making great progress and just have a few more things to do. So that's up on the agenda for upcoming events that you can participate in. And Deborah, may I ask Deborah if she'll talk about the Skymark venture downtown? Don't know. Okay, I believe it's on
the day of it?
February 21st, I believe.
I think so. It was in the chamber newsletter I sent out today.
Right. And that's going to be above the Pink Pig, I believe they're going to be meeting, and that's the bringing together the incubators.
Yes.
And that's something that we might want to stop by and see. They've received the grants for that program that's going to be downtown. So that'll be on February 21st, 2 o'clock downtown.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Bob, you remember when they delivered that first fire truck, don't you?
Nobody do the second.
Are there any other meaningful comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn to, and invite those to attend the work session.